If you are a woodturner, you probably have grandchildren. So let's make these grandchildren some nice toys today. Hello and welcome. Today I want to make 2 toys for your grandchildren, or of course for your son or daughter or whatever. 2 spinning tops. The first spinning top is just an ordinary spinning top like you've seen thousands before, and the second spinning top is an egg. Yep, an egg. But let's start with the first one. We make a normal spinning top, and after that we make a launching device.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, sure. Here we have a piece of maple, and I want to know where the middle is so I can mount it on the lathe. We're gonna make it round and make a tenon on it to mount it in the chuck. There we go. More or less round. Now let's make a tenon. I have dovetail jaws, 52 millimeters. More or less 52 millimeters. Take it out, mount it in the chuck. Nice and round. Next thing to do is make a little point over here for the spinning top to turn on. Looks good. Now what I'm going to do is just for a second push my center in so that I have a center point, and I take a little brass nail and the hammer and the hammer and the hammer. And in that center, I'm going to tap the brass nail. And now you maybe wonder, why a brass nail? Well, brass is a very weak material, and I can cut that with my gouge. Well, that's done, and while we're around here, let's sand it for a minute. Smooth. And now we're going to make the spinning top with a very thin stick on it. And it has to be thin, because then we can get most of the speed in it. But if I make a very thin piece of wood over here, this might start to wobble a little bit. Therefore, I can't use this. I can't use this center, of course, but I have several of these, and this one is also a live center, and it has a hole in it, and this is a sort of hard plastic. So it doesn't make pressure marks on the wood, and it holds it steady. Now we're going to make the shape of the spinning top. That was my parting tool to go into the wood, and now I use back to my roughing gouge to take more material away. Spindle gouge again. That's the body, we'll sand it later, and now I'm going to make a this part, the stick that is on top of the spinning top, we're going to make that 8mm or something like that. What shall we do here? We'll make here a little extra. I want to have this part 8mm, so let's measure how much we have now. I think it's 10 or something like that. It is 9 and a little bit, so I'm going to take just a very thin slice off. Good. Sand it just a little bit. Are we 8?
Are we?
Yes. And now we'll take the spinning top out of the lathe. Release a bit of the pressure over here. I hold it here but with the stem, and so
Beautiful.
that's it. And the spinning top already works.
Really?
Yeah, of course it works. Show.
Oh, that's great.
Nah,
No?
we can do better. There we go.
Oh,
But
but
we can make it spin better by making a launching device. There we go.
it sounds like NASA.
It is. Before we take this to the drill press to drill a few holes in it, we first put some lines so that we keep this thing centered. The better we keep this thing centered, the nicer it will look. What we'll do is we'll take this to the drill press and we'll drill 2 holes. One hole is meant for the rope to be in and one hole is meant for the spinning top to be in. There's the hole. Well, let me start with another gouge first. There's the handle already, and now let's make this shape a little bit more like this hole, and then it looks better. Okay, we'll leave it like that. These 2 surfaces I have to sand a little bit. Sanding these 2 rough surfaces over here. Oops, I now see that I'm not completely round yet here. And you can't have a grandchild saying to you, "Oh, granddad, this is not completely round." I don't have children, so I won't have grandchildren either. It goes from generation to generation. I'll take it out. Now it's round. Now we have the launching device.
Nice.
And I'm going back to the drill press to get a little hole in the middle here. So, and what we need now is a rope. And of course at the other end we can make a handle. And what is a good idea then is, look, this is, if we make this a little bit, if we put a little bit of CA glue on here, the thinnest one, CA5, and put a drop. Oh, shit. So there's CA glue now. And if we wait a minute, now we have a hard little piece at the end. And now I can easily put it in the hole, wind it. I'll take a few steps back. No. Yeah, if you have some exciting drums or something, you should put them in here.
Woo-hoo. Oh, it's great. It's great stuff. Wow.
Well, the point is clear, I guess.
Yeah.
It's still spinning, and if we go have a cup of coffee and we come back, it probably still would be spinning.
It's great.
Could be that it's going through the floor now.
To China.
Next one. The next spinning top we make is a spinning top egg. An egg, yes, an egg. And we start again by making the launching device. So here we have the basics of our launching device. I started with drilling a hole in here, and that hole is about 30, it is exactly 35 millimeters, but it's the, well, whatever you choose. And then I cut off half of this hole. So now I can mount it in the lathe on the pencil line, of course. And here also. Nicely in the middle. Well, and while I was at the bandsaw, I could have cut this away also, of course. Well, I didn't forget it, but I just simply didn't think about it for a minute. So let's do that on the lathe now. It goes about exactly the same speed, so why not at the lathe? There we go. I want this thing to be very light because I have to move it with 2 fingers. So this is of course way too thick. And also this, I can make this much more fragile. One more cut with my roughing gouge. And now I switch to my spindle gouge. One more pass and then it's done, I guess. Yep. Make a nice finishing cut using the skew. That's our launching device. And now for the egg. The hole in the launching device is 35 millimeters. So the diameter, the maximum diameter of the egg is 35 millimeters. Well, actually just below 35 millimeters. This is a little piece of oak, just ordinary oak. In Latin it is called Ocus ordinarius. There we go. First make it round. One more pass. Now it's round, and if I have measured it correctly, it should be about 35 mils. And I can check that, of course. Well, this thing should go over it, but loose. So first let's make the egg now. Switch to my spindle gouge. By the way, if you have just started turning and you're watching these videos because you have just started turning, eggs are a great way to practice your skills, because it looks quite simple, the shape of an egg, but try to make it with your spindle gouge and have one fluent curve from top till both ends of the egg. Anyway, do it. Try it. So, sand it a little bit. There's a little egg, launching device.
Wow.
Great stuff to play with. Here's one I made yesterday, because I had to practice for this video, of course. And this one is made out of spalted beech, so you can make these eggs as beautiful as you wish. There we go.